Welcome, my friends, to a new episode of Frameworks. Well, in this episode, we're going to talk about a framework for teaching grammar. Someone might say, Shadi, but you talked before about some frameworks that can be used for teaching language. Why this new one? And the answer is simply because you don't want your students to get bored. That's why you try to use different frameworks every time you're teaching. That's why we talked about test, teach, test. We talked about text-based presentation. We talked about present, practice, produce. And today we're going to talk about another framework. We're going to talk about Dictogloss. And Dictogloss is a dictation-based framework. It is based on dictation. And it was introduced in 1990 by a wonderful professor called Ruth Weinrib. Now, in her book, Grammar Dictation, Ruth talked about Dictogloss as an alternative for teaching grammar. And she mentioned in her wonderful book that Dictogloss has 4 main stages. And these are the 4 main stages we're going to talk about in today's episode. So let's start with the first stage. And the first stage is called preparation. And in the preparation stage, we have 4 main things to do. Number 1, attracting students' attention to the topic of the dictated text. Number 2, pre-teaching the difficult vocabulary in the dictated text. Number 3, giving clear instructions for students about what they need to do. And number 4, grouping students. And again, for that purpose, I actually visited a wonderful website and I found a wonderful joke that is related to the nursing job, a good one. And I decided to use this text as my dictated text and the text upon which I'm going to build my lesson. So let's have a look at the text. And as you see, my friends, the text is kind of a joke and it's about, nurses and hospitals, patients, stuff like that. Funny one. Right. And in order to generate my students' interest in that topic, I decided to start with a couple of discussion questions and use this handout. And as you see, the handout is made up of some quotes that I chose from the internet. Some of these quotes are funny and some of these quotes are serious about the profession of nursing. And I decided to use these as a way of attracting students to the topic. So let's see what I did. When I say the word nurse, what comes to your mind when I say nurse?
Hospital.
Okay.
Injection.
A picture of an
What else?
What? Injection.
Oh, injections.
Doctors.
That's scary?
Yeah.
You hate injections?
Yes.
Right, okay. Pains, right.
Nurse.
Oh, yeah, that's what you see, right? Okay. Do you believe that nursing is important? Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Why? Anyone?
Yes, they are the primary helpers, doctors. Yes, without them, doctors wouldn't be able to function.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, totally agree. Okay, right. I have here some quotes about nursing. Some of them are serious and some of them are funny, right? So what I want you to do, I want you to read these quotes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and tick the ones you really love. It doesn't matter whether they're serious or funny quotes. Take your time first. Okay, now my friends, what I want you to do with your partners, I want you to discuss which quotes you like and why, right? So I want the three of you here together. Three of you. Let's have, so let's have both of you together and the three of you here. And let's have the three of you. Can you move
The thing is that they work for a very long time.
Governmental.
I have a favorite.
Okay, right. Good, my friends. So, which one is your favorite? Yes?
The first one.
The first one. Why?
So meaningful. Like,
Yeah.
you can think of a lot of things, or a lot of things came to my mind, like to touch a newborn
Rhetorical.
thing,
Yeah.
to clothe someone so deep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Hard feelings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to agree. Yeah. Adi, what about you?
Yes, yes. Rhetorical.
You agree with her, or you have another favorite one?
Yeah, yes, yes. I said just literary style.
Mm.
Rhetorical.
It gathered the two meanings, two different, completely different meanings. The best feeling in the world ever, and the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's there in both of
I
them.
like the last one actually.
Evil. Me too.
Why?
It's very relatable.
Okay, right. Other favorite?
I think
What?
I like the first one.
The first one also is for the same reasons that you have different reasons.
exactly.
Same ones. Right, what about you?
I like the one that says nurse, kind of like a doctor but nicer,
Okay,
I
and
like this
why this is your favorite?
because it's like a personal experience for me. Like five months ago, I was having surgery, or I had surgery, and I literally wouldn't have made it without my nurse. Really, the doctor was very harsh and he was very straightforward. He didn't sugarcoat the words.
It's just, you know.
Yes, just like that.
So blunt, yeah.
Yeah, and the nurse was really, really nice. She was with me like during the whole process.
Wow.
Even when I was like waking up, I kept holding her hand without even noticing. And she said, you kept holding my hand and you didn't want to let go.
Brilliant.
Because I wanted someone to comfort me. And she
Yeah.
was there, so she was very, very nice.
Yeah, okay. Totally
If I
agree.
go back in time, I would have become a nurse. So let's see.
What? Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've seen some like just amazing nurses outside of Egypt, to be honest.
Okay.
And then I can see here in Egypt, it's so underrated and overlooked, the job itself.
Yeah.
It deserves so much recognition, and people are not doing that. I don't know why.
Which is bad, you know.
It's really bad.
Yeah, it's a very important job, and you know.
Yes.
To be honest,
Yeah. Okay, lovely. So actually, the topic of today is nursing. We're going to actually listen to a text about nursing, but before that, this text has some difficult words. So I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 difficult words, but we have the definitions here. All I want you to do is to match. Okay? Right, good. Work along. please help each other. I want you to check your answers and also ask your friends what they think, and then we'll talk, right? So together, right, together.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good guess. I think
Okay, right. So, let's check together. Right, so what about a bear hug? Which one?
Three.
Three. Okay, yes, that's correct. Good answer. And what about mattress?
Five.
Very good. That's a good answer. Summon?
Two.
No, that's number
One.
one actually, which is to increase your courage or strength. Right. Good. And what about might?
Four.
Yes. And finally, hoist. That's number two. That's number two. Wonderful. Good, my friends. Right, now. Now, my friends, we're going to listen to a text, as I said, about nurses, right? It's a funny one, okay? Now, what I want you to do is to listen first, but write nothing at all. Just listen and feel it and try to understand it, okay? So that's the first time. So are you going to write anything?
No.
No. Right, so please put your pens down. Okay, good. Lovely. So now, my friends, as you saw, I covered the four main areas of the preparation stage. And now it is time to move to the second stage, which is the dictation stage. And in the dictation stage, I'm going to dictate my students 3 times. Well, the first time I'm going to use native-like speed, so I'm not going to slow down or anything as we usually do when we're dictating. No, it will be natural speed. And I will ask my students just to listen, but take no notes. You just listen and feel the text. And then, after that, I'm going to ask them to listen again, and again, native-like speed, so I'm not going to slow down or anything. And then they're going to listen and take notes, but they will try to pick as many words as they can, because of course, it will be impossible for them to write everything I say, because I'm not slowing down. And then, I'm going to dictate for the 3rd time, and I'm going to ask them again to take more notes on the vocabulary and write as much as they can. So let's see, my friends, how I did this. It was my first night caring for an elderly patient. When he grew sleepy, I wheeled his chair as close to the bed as possible. And using the techniques I'd learned in school, grasped him in a bear hug to lift him onto the bed. But I couldn't clear the top of the mattress, so I grabbed him again, summoned all my might, and hoisted him onto the bed. When the night shift nurse arrived, I recounted what had happened. Funny, she said, looking puzzled. Usually I just ask him to get in bed, and he does. Right. So, yes, it's a joke. Yes, I know. Okay, very sneaky. Now, what's going to happen, I am going to read it one more time, but this time you'll be working in groups, and I want you to write as many words as you can. Now, I'll be reading with the same speed,
Okay.
with a native-like speed, which means that you wouldn't have time to write complete sentences. It's impossible. So my advice would be, pick the vocabulary that you can, the keywords, and write them quickly. So, are you going to write everything I say? No. Just try to pick the key. Okay, now, let me put you in groups. So I need here first a group of 5. So I need a circle here. So try to move both of you and put your chairs here. Now, for both of you, I want you to put your chairs here. I need a group of 5 here. And you, my friend, move a bit. You will move a bit. Let me help you with that. Okay, that doesn't look like a circle, subhanAllah. Something wrong with mathematics here. Geometrical shapes. Are we ready? Are we ready?
Yeah.
Good. Let's do it. It was my first night caring for an elderly patient. When he grew sleepy, I wheeled his chair as close to the bed as possible. And using the techniques I'd learned in school, grasped him in a bear hug to lift him onto the bed. But I couldn't clear the top of the mattress. So I grabbed him again, summoned all my might, and hoisted him onto the bed. When the night shift nurse arrived, I recounted what had happened. Funny, she said, looking puzzled. Usually I just ask him to get in bed, and he does. Now, together in groups.
Yeah, we finished?
Yes. Yes. Share your notes, and I'll give you another time. I'll re-say it again, but before that, share your notes quickly. Take your time.
Because he didn't write it down. Yeah, he or she. She could have asked him, and she said, nothing, but easier. She asked me, and he was the hero. I just asked her to go to the bed. I know you were the person missing.
Okay, my friends, so, as you are, I'm going to dictate it for the 3rd time. Now, try to take more notes as well, okay? Try to get as many keywords as you can, right? Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. It was my first night caring for an elderly patient. When he grew sleepy, I wheeled his chair as close to the bed as possible. And using the techniques I'd learned in school, grasped him in a bear hug to lift him onto the bed. But I couldn't clear the top of the mattress. So I grabbed him again, summoned all my might, and hoisted him onto the bed. When the night shift nurse arrived, I recounted what had happened. Funny, she said, looking puzzled. Usually I just ask him to get in bed, and he does. Now the 3rd stage is what we call reconstruction. And the reason why we call it reconstruction is because students now are going to work together in groups, and they will try to reconstruct my dictated text using the notes they have been taken. And they will help each other, and they will try to reconstruct the text. And again, the rationale behind this stage, all what they have is only vocabulary. So in order to build up a whole text, they will need to add grammar, which means that they will finally use the grammar I'm trying to focus on, which is in this scenario past simple and past perfect. So let's see how I ran this. Let's go. Now, my friends, what's gonna happen, you will nominate a scribe, a writer. And you will help all of you, your scribe, to produce the full text that I dictated. Do your best. Try to make it as logical as possible. Try to make it follow the same organization as much as you can. Of course, we don't expect you to produce a copy of this, but do your best. Okay? So, go on. Come on. Start. Nominate one to do it.
I use the technique I learned when he goes to sleep. Those ones.
There is something missing here. Using the techniques that I learned.
I grab the shape,
I put them on the mattress, I think.
Now, my friends, this is what we're going to do. Now, the final stage is called analysis and correction. So I'm going to get them to compare the versions they produced with the ones produced by the friends. And I'm going also to get them to compare their versions with the original dictated text. And then I will try to attract their attention to the target language. And I can do this by designing also some control practice activities that would focus on the target language in the text. So let's see how I did this. I want you to leave a copy of your version on the chair, okay? Because your friends will be reading that. So
wouldn't be able to.
don't worry, because we're going to change your seats. So you're going to take their seats, and they are going to take your seats, and it will go like that. So now I want you to leave a version, okay, on a seat here. So go on, move around.
The whole group together?
Yes.
This is for us?
Someone
I go to bed at school.
Okay, my friends, you will leave the version on a chair and then again move around like that. Go on. Switch. Okay, back to your original workstation and leave the text.
Very good. Look at yours. Look at yours. Have a better
Okay, now my friends, right, I'm going to give you the original text. Now what you need to do is to compare it with your version. I want you to think about coherence and cohesion. Think about grammar. Think about vocabulary. Think about punctuation. So let me put these. Think about cohesion.
Coherence.
Coherence.
Grammar.
Vocabulary. Grammar. And punctuation. So analyze what you have produced, okay? And compare it.
Didn't know that this was Can we connect?
My first night
Okay, my friends, back to a U shape, if you please. Let's talk about the whole thing in terms of all these 5 points. What have you learned when you compared your text to the original one? What have you noticed?
I guess the coherence are the same. Coherences are the same. We organize the ideas in the same order.
Very good. So it was the same way.
Yeah.
Okay.
The vocabs were completely
Different? Like can you give me some examples?
Like grasp and
grasp, grab.
Grasp and grab.
Okay. What did you use instead? You used the same words or
We reversed.
you reversed them.
Yes.
Right. Okay. What else?
Quotation.
Yes.
When someone says something like I would say she said blah blah blah, I would have to use quotation marks.
Yeah,
We didn't
and
use
you,
that.
there was
No, we didn't use
You
that.
didn't use that,
No.
right? And what about grammar? Was it the same or there were some differences?
No, something.
Some differences. Can you tell me?
Yeah, we said the techniques I learned in school instead of I've learned.
Okay, so the past perfect.
Yes.
Okay. What else have you noticed during the comparison process? Anything else?
Punctuality or
Punctuation.
Punctuation, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
We have problems. We don't care about putting dots or capitalizing the word,
Okay.
the names, for example, the things.
And you noticed that as well. Right, good, lovely. So now, more focus on the text. I want you to put the original text, put it away, put the original text away. So you don't look at it. Now, I have here the original text, okay? But with some verbs in the first form. All I want you to do is to read this text again and change the verbs using your memory. Try to change them to the original, okay? Yeah, to the original ones.
There are some questions. Yes.
Now I want you to check with each other, see whether you agree or disagree on the answers. Together. Okay, my friends. Now, compare your answers with the original text. Have a look at it. Now, my friends, any questions about this activity, or is it clear? Clear, right? Okay, good. Now, this is again the same text, right? But here, we have two underlying parts, two underlying structures, and three questions up there. I want you to answer these three questions about these two structures. So read the questions and answer, and then we'll talk. Okay? Good. check with your partners, same partners. So let's talk about the first example. Which action happened first? Yeah, have learned. What about the second one? Which action happened first?
What happened?
Okay, had happened. So, and what is the structure used?
Has
The past perfect. Right. And what is the name of this structure? Past perfect. Okay, so when do we usually use the past perfect?
And I have two actions, one of them happened before
Yeah. We want the reader to avoid confusion. Right?
Yeah.
So when we feel that there might be confusion, so we use the past perfect. So the reader is clear about
What happened first?
Yeah, okay, very true. Now, someone might say, Shadi, this is a bit weird, you know. We're used to ending our lessons by a freer practice, but actually what we see here is that you ended your lesson with some control practice tasks. And the reason why, my friends, this happened is because in Dictogloss, it's a bit different. You start actually with the freer practice, and the freer practice was the reconstruction stage, because the students reconstructed the whole text using their own minds. Yes, I gave them the story. Yes, they pick up some words from the dictated text. However, all their structures, they tried to use their memories, but they were actually building everything on their own. And then after that, we analyze and reflect on what happened. So this is a kind of an upside down framework. It's the opposite of the other frameworks we've been talking about before. And of course, I mean the frameworks for teaching language. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, my friends. Thank you so much. Until we meet in another episode. Bye-bye.